Some more on this receding hills with red sky and blue hills. I'm going to try something here that's kind of a fun thing to practice, and I encourage you to check it out if you're feeling so inclined. What I've done is I've gotten a separate little cup that I've mixed up quite a bit of watery peacock blue. So just decent amount of water and a little bit of peacock blue. I'm testing it. I did test it to see how dark it's going to be overall, because it's hard to tell from just the cup. So that's fine. I'm going to paint from just all the hills. I'm going to do all the hills, and I'm going to do it with this technique that really is about, just because I can go all the way across the paper, and I have more paint than I know I'm going to need. I can just keep coming across the top and keep it at an angle so that the bead of paint will be really obvious. And if it starts not being obvious, I will bring in more watery color. But this needs to, you need to make, if you want to try this, it's fun, and it will help you sort of get the idea of really that bead of paint, pooling row of watery color, which it took me a long time to kind of get a feel for. So here's my brush. There's plenty of paint in it, and if for some reason it ends up slopping down and spilling, it won't do anybody any harm at all. So, or the painting. So here we go. I'm going to come in just across the top. I'm probably not going to well, here, you'll see what I'm going to do. I'm not going to worry exactly about making sure I'm exact, but I'm going to lay that down there. I might come back and do one more like that. I don't want to let that paint sit there, and I don't want that silly little hair. What I was starting to say is I don't want to let that pooling watercolor paint sit there like that for too long, especially if that's on pure white paper. That might even at this point kind of leave a little stain. So there I came back and just refined the edge with a little bit more refined brushwork, and now I have this where I'm really just getting plenty. I'm going to do it like every stroke. Yeah, some's going to come down like that. It's going to be okay. I'm going to get plenty of paint. And I'm going to overlap that pooling color. I'm going to start, because I know I have just way too much and it's spilling over everywhere. I can do a few passes, but I'm doing it quick. I know I'm not going to need to go back and mix up more paint, because that would make it so it would be sort of a different kind of color. But especially because I'm holding the paper at an angle, all of that is just going to keep consistently blending down, and that's kind of nice. Over here, you know, it's blending with that yellow that was in the hills and making some sort of greenish hues in the hills. That's nice. Over here there's some light violet. I am going to come down and pick up with a thirsty brush that excess amount right there. I'm going to look for a clean paper towel, and I'm not going to find one, so I'm going to use my not clean paper towel. And that's about that. That's great. That's a sort of a great, fun thing to do, and a great way to see, you know, especially that watery mix of transparent watercolor. Just the cool effect that it has, that it's mixing visually with the layers below it and creating different colors, but still sort of obvious that it's transparent, because you can tell that there's a transition of color here, and it's clean in a certain sort of way. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about it. You can tell, hopefully. If not, ask me. But I'm going to set that aside and do a little bit more on that etude. And I'm going to make sure that that other one is drying at that angle. One thing that does is now I have this, which I may want, probably will, probably use, can keep using it. I'm going to do a next layer for the Quinn Rose. Let's see here. I can tell that this is not quite Quinn Rose, and I can tell there's a touch of peacock blue still in here. And the way I was painting with that, soaking it up, it's no surprise that there's still some peacock blue in here. I can just tell that it's slightly leaning towards a violety rose. Which is fine if I wanted to make sure that this all stayed completely Quinn Rose. Excuse me, and that could have been a problem, but I don't. In fact, it'll probably just inform how I keep proceeding. I'll probably keep transitioning to a little bit of more purpley red violet sort of thing. While I'm over here, let's see what we did. If I used that watery color over any of these hills, it probably wouldn't make a whole lot of difference, because I don't think it's very much, I don't think it's any darker. So it would add some pigment and sort of even things out a little bit, but it wouldn't make things darker. So I'm just going to mix up a little bit stronger peacock blue and start painting some of the lower hills on the blue one. I'm trying to remember where I left off. Yeah, that's right. I did do like all the hills. So I think I am going to come back. I want this one a little bit darker, starting at the second one. Not much, but just enough so you know that indeed there's a little color change right there. Not much color change, which is what I would like anyways, so that's good. Hopefully by now you sort of realize it. Yeah, if you do get it wet enough that even if for some reason you needed to come back up here and wet one area over here, you would need to address like this whole shape if you want it to dry cleanly and gradually and evenly. But as long as you're keeping the whole shape with plenty of water, it's funny, plenty of water but not too much. But enough, but not too much. But enough, but not too much. Yeah, it gets confusing. That's why you got to practice a lot. Good thing it's so fun. So yeah, gradually building up on that one. I'll let those dry. See you in the next one.